Hello everyone, my name is Luis Vargas Aboita and I'm going to be your HoloAnatomy technologist here at MSOM. I'm going to do a quick overview of the technology we're going to be using here at MSOM as well as the software. So here you see in front of you our fleet of our Quest 3 devices. We're going to be using this for our HoloAnatomy labs. Here you can see they're inputted correctly. You can see the way we remove them is by flipping this down. When we're done placing that in, adjusting the dial and setting it to charge, making sure our number here is the same and consistent throughout these devices. So I want to go over the device itself, this Quest 3, and the more important buttons to it. So here we have our power button. You hold this for about 10 seconds for it to fully shut down, 30 seconds for a hard restart. The IPD here will adjust to your interpupillary distance. So we have some apps that we can use to adjust that as well. It's really helpful. And then your volume, if you ever want to hear you tapping around, it can be helpful as well. You have your Meta Elite head strap with an external battery, which is connected right here. This connects to the Quest computer. Here you can see the battery life of that head strap. So every time we're using these, two hands from here, not from here because it's connected and it can clip on. You want to hold it like a baby or a football, right? Very carefully. The way we wear this is we'll put this removable silicone face mold onto our face while lifting this up, expanding it, moving it counterclockwise, and then once it's on our head, we're going to move it clockwise so we can adjust to our head size, and then we'll take this strap and adjust it so that this headset is level on our head, right? So here we go. We're going to put one on, and I'm going to go over some of the most important Quest features, menu options, and then we're going to jump into a HoloAnatomy session. So let's put this on. All right, so the most important buttons you should know is the Quest button, which is right here, the Meta button, right? You'll tap on it and the menu will appear. Tap on it again and it'll go away. The main controls are your hand tracking controls, which is your air tapping or your pinching, right? So we're going to go over that right now. You can see when I put my palm up, kind of in my field of view, you can see this line kind of across. I'll pinch and I'll really exaggerate this, my thumb and index, and it'll kind of click like a mouse would. If I want to use the other form of tapping, I would get close to what I want to select and then I'll press through it as if it were physically there. So one important thing that I want everyone to do when we're in lab is adjust their boundary. And as you saw there, I went to the quick settings, then I hit the a boundary icon, and then I want everyone to choose their own room scale boundary. So here you're going to see it's going to adjust the floor level, and then everyone's going to be in their own pod. And this is an example of pod 1 through 7. There's numbers on your pods all across the room. We're going to have some more tape to really set your boundary and your pods or your pucks to help you anchor your hologram. So here you can see now I'm going to be pinching and I'm going to be holding as if I were drawing a imaginary kind of square, right, following all corners of those sticky notes, which is my boundary that you're going to be kind of moving around. Anytime you step away your boundary, the app will pause. So now that I've set one up, I'm going to go away from here, hit my library. My library shows me all of my apps. You want this to say all, and then you'll find your HoloAnatomy button either right here in your library or it'll show up also on your navigation bar, right? So now I'm going to select it right over here and let the application set up. In Labs, I want you all to join as a participant, and I'll go over that in a bit. But when we're studying on our own, I want you all to start a session. So now that we have our kind of boundary set up, and you can see here the pucks are kind of wanting to adjust so we can have our holograms anchored. The first step the HoloAnatomy app asks you is to set up your anchors. So you're going to have one puck pinch right here, one puck pinch right there, and you're going to see this third puck with the arrow indicating that the hologram is going to be right there and facing you, right? Very important you have it facing you. Once you have your HoloAnatomy menu up, you're going to see your device number. You're going to see the update it's on. This icon here will help you exit the application. This will help you re-anchor it if you need to readjust those pods, and then you can join a session if you're a student in the lab participating, and you're going to start a session if you're a student or a facilitator starting up a specific session. So as we go in our orientation demo, or as you study, I want you to be starting a session. But let's say you're in lab, you would hit join session and you would see ALS 5 here. You would tap on it and then hit next. But since that's not the case, we're going to go back and start a session ourselves. Here, depending on the scenario, you can add any name. Let's say I'm opening up a study session with my teammates. I'm going to just name it myself. Hit next. Once this loads up, you'll see our projects and units. Projects are kind of like our blocks in a sense. Units are the ALS sessions that we're going to be running. So here you can see the project that we'll do today, because I want to go over some of the functions of the HoloAnatomy settings, the MSOM projects, which is what you'll do during orientation as well. And then you're going to select your unit. And you can see that every time I tap, it's going to turn a nice light blue, and then I can hit continue and go next. So now it's going to load the unit. Keep in mind, this usually takes anywhere from 2 minutes to 5 minutes, and this helps us as support help everyone adjust to their environment and get them all settled before we start the lab. So again, I want to really reiterate that your best friends are going to be your hands, right? Tapping or physically getting up there, pinching or tapping. So I want everyone to really pay attention with these controls. This is going to be your HoloAnatomy orientation scene. You can see we have everything out here. As we continue to add more and more holograms and more structures, sometimes you'll get an error code saying that this can cause simulation sickness. I want you to hit that view and continue. That's on our side because we want to show you everything as of now, and it can be too much for the system, so it might give you that error code. But just hit view and continue, and if it's too much for you, I would just progress. As a facilitator, right, when you start a session, you'll have these 6 options. When you're a learner, you only have one that lets you kick out and select a new unit. Here we have our next, previous, reset, locked, home, and switch unit. Previous and next, right, those are kind of assumed what they do. Locked, reset will go over. Home takes you back to the HoloAnatomy main menu, and switch unit lets you go to a different unit, so you don't have to go all the way and quit the app. So let's hit next. And the way we do that again is we're using the tap method, not the pinching. You can do the pinch, but I think this is preferred as a tap with this HoloAnatomy main menu. So the controls are here. There's an explanation of what they do, so you can pause the video to read through that. Like I said, locked and reset might be the ones that are a little bit newer and not as self-explanatory, right? So when you're in a session with multiple participants, you'll leave it locked unless you want everyone to have control. Then you'll unlock it like this, and now everyone who's in the session with me can move it around. If you are interacting with images, moving them around in space, and you want them to go back to their own positioning or their original positioning, you're going to hit reset. So here you can go through these slides and pause the video as you wish. It's just going over the how to access the menu controls, right? Opening your non-dominant hand with your palm facing. You don't want to have it out here, right? So my hand's over here. You want to have it in front of you, somewhere where your lens can catch it. Keeping it raised while you use this other hand and press through it, right? You don't want to do this, right? Kind of have put your hand up and then put it down. You don't want to do that. You want to have it all at the same time. And if you look at your hands, you can see that you have like these avatar looking hands, right? Next here, we talk about moving models. Any model that has so you can see an orange box around it is considered interactable, which means you can move it. You can move something by, like we said, pinching or grabbing it, like as if it were a real physical thing. So I prefer kind of getting up to it closely and grabbing it because it's more accurate and you can really move it more finer. Here, sometimes you can lose that if you move your wrist too quickly, right? But here you can see I'm gonna pick it up and put it right there. So you can see how this is the movement we want you all to learn, so you can move holograms in this 3D space. So not perfect, but pretty close enough, right? The next movement we're going to go over is rotation. So like I said, you can use the air tap, which I don't think is as accurate as I would like. Well, for me personally, I prefer grabbing it as a unit and moving my wrist, and see how more accurate my rotation is. So this is how you rotate a model, just by moving your wrist, right? So here I'm going to pick him up from the sacrum and then rotate, and now he's looking at me right there. So that's how you can move a model. But again, if you want to use the air tap, it can also be done. It's just not as accurate, and it takes more time. So here's that reset button showing you that everything's back in its place. The next slide goes over increasing, decreasing size. So here what you want to do is pinch at two ends, and then move your hands away from each other, kind of like a reverse hug almost. And then to put it back in its original size, or smaller, sorry, decreased size, you're gonna pinch at two ends and then bring your hands together like an accordion almost, ding ding ding. Yeah, okay, cool. And again, you can do that with the grab method or with the air tap method. Here you can see I'm using the air tap to pinch, hold, and then move. You always want to make sure when you're done, you're letting go, right? So here I'm gonna just make him normal sized and put him right there, or small. The next movement is, again, adding the movement aspect into a slide. So here we would do like a dissection of a specific region, because we want you to find an organ or a vessel or whatever. Here you would approach the hologram and kind of move towards it, and you can see this orange box or rectangle appear. And this is that error code. You're just going to hit view and continue. So you're going to grab, pinch, release, and every time you see this kind of orange box, it means it's interactable, right? So here I'm kind of dissecting and taking away layer per layer to get to the highlighted and labeled structure, which in this case is the appendix. With this, I can always make large and put them back if I need to. Again, to put everything back, we're gonna hit reset, and it's back to normal, right? This last slide here is for all of you to have some more practice with moving images. Here I've kind of created a slide where I want you to take all of these handsome gentlemen and gentlewomen and move them, place them in their spot, resize them however you wish to, and then grab this image that's interactable as well, grab it, rotate it, and put it in its anatomical position. So this is some more practice for you to get used to this new environment. So that's pretty much it for your kind of orientation to the software and the hardware. If you have any questions, please email me, message me, find me. I'll be having office hours, and I'll be in labs to support you as much as you need. We can also check out these devices. So for stuff like that, please reach out to me. I'm going to leave a description in the video below to purchase some silicone face molds if you want. I have my personal own that I'll bring in lab and switch out so I can take it home and wash it, or wash it here. Also going to be dropping down the link to the IPD measure tool if you have Apple or Android. So I'll catch you all in lab, and welcome to MSOM. Let's have some fun this year.